Top of the afternoon to you, everybody. So we're waiting on Trusses. Good old truss company. So we actually fired them back in 2003 because they were supposed to show up at noon on a Friday. We got out of there at 5. They showed up at 7, left them in the cul-de-sac, and we had to hand pack them up. Then again, we fired them when we did a job for another builder in 2012 because they were supposed to be here by noon. It was floor trusses that time. Nobody was there by 5, and they showed up late. We spent an entire day unpacking and moving those with the forklift, which we back charged them and got that. It was like 3,000 pounds, the girder truss that we had to flip. Anyway, we documented that time. So I called. They were supposed to be here by noon. I called at 12:50, and they were on 5:12. If you know, we were in Silverdale, and now it is 2:25, and they're still not here. We don't really care, but we got to pack them up here with the forklift. So, I mean, it's Friday. We got better things to do than stay here late. We're usually out of here by 3. I mean, by we, I mean they.
And welcome back to the channel, everybody. In this video, well, besides moving the trusses up the hill, which, God, man, this is so cramped. It is so cramped. As of now, though, they have done some dirt work to bring in the gas meter, and they took down that retaining wall. Now we have loads of room. Gosh, that's the way it always goes. That's the way it always goes. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. This video, we are going to start setting some trusses once we get them up to the hill. And a good chunk of this video is the prep on the girder truss. Got to nail some hangers on, lay it out. I believe the girder truss was 1,500 pounds. It was 10'4" tall and 42 foot long. It is that guy right there. So let's get into it. And by the way, thank you very much for following along. If you don't mind, hit that notification bell and the subscribe button. And then just spam everybody in your contact list. I keep saying that, nobody's doing it. So we're going to keep saying it.
Okay, 5 o'clock, we're still here. Man, I wish they would show up on time. Is what it is. We got 2 more loads, and then we can go.
Now, lest you think I am just complaining, I want you to consider this. 2 people at time and a half after 40 on a Friday, that's something we don't factor into the budget. So 3 people, really, if you count
then
me.
I guess I'll do that. So 23 1/4. Now I just got to make sure I don't mess that up all the way across. 47 1/4. Now just go X's.
For frame of reference, the house
71.
itself is 42 feet long. That's outside of those glue lamps to outside of the glue lamps. Their girder truss, therefore, is 42 foot long. We could pull layout from either side. If you remember from the previous videos, layout had to kind of change depending on the anchor bolt pattern. None of that matters because this girder is going to carry the roof, and the outside of those Roseboro beams is going to carry the roof. I could have started and just ran 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot. I don't really know. We kind of debated it. We just started 3/4 back. So that's why it's 23 1/4 X long, or rafter or truss long, 47 1/4 X long, joist, rafter, stud, etc. Super clear. I can be really clear. Now, once we get to a certain point, though, I'm going to tack a nail. Now I'm going to pull 2 foot. I remember when I very first started doing layout in school, the guys hated me because I went 15 1/4, etc. Halfway through, started to lay out over again, 15 1/4, etc. So that means they had to cut sheathing. I've never forgotten that lesson. 1995. Incidentally, if you were wondering, that is the Pika Dry. It's like the Pika Dry Large, the Pika Dry XL. I'll put a link in the description below. And then Ben Bogey turned me on to some lead, I think last year or the year before, at the International Builder Show. Ordered it off Amazon the next day. It is much better lead for marking on wet wood.
Huh? I just tried to kick some dirt over it. Yeah. Okie doke.
What Brandon was just referring to, and you saw how we had to pack all of the lumber and the trusses up. Well, apparently the pipe that pumps the septic up to the drain field isn't deep enough due to the hard pan. We didn't figure that out until like the day before this. What are we supposed to do? We don't know. Okay, let's go over a couple things on the rigging and the hoisting. So there are proper telehandler signals and crane signals, but there was just 2 of us on site for many years. And if you're the person that's out there with one hand on the beam, or in this case, the girder truss, how do you signal with 2 hands, like boom out? And so we turned it into boom out is hang loose, pinching is boom in, that's up, and of course down. Thumb up is tilt the forks up, thumb down is tilt the forks down. If we do this, it means tilt the machine left, tilt the machine right. Okay, so those are just our signals. The other thing I want you to keep track of as you watch our videos is that you're gonna see a lot of up and in or up and out. We're always trying to keep things centered based on where it is attached to the forklift, in this case the truss jib. So anyway,
So I went 23 1/4 to it. Yeah, I don't know how to keep it in position so I can shoot hangers on.
2 manly men hold it. I don't know where you can find them, but
I know, well, I don't want to make it like a 3-person job, you know, but it kind of is. Yeah, is there, like I was thinking, but there's nowhere to lay it down.
yeah, unless we're up on top. Lean it against this wall.
Because what I would like to do is, let me just sneak by you real quick. What I would like to do is, before we actually go to set it,
What if I just backed up and we kind of leaned it against our post?
yeah, let's try it, because we're going to back up, Brandon, and try to lean it closer to the post. I mean, honestly, if we got it over there, we could drive a screw through and it would hold it in place. And then you guys could get the post in, I could shoot these on. And I have an idea on the inside for bracing. Can you, yeah, go back a little bit. Yeah. Is that okay? I can put a screw through it. Yeah, but that's still, I think that was a smart move.
okay, so continuing with layout, 23 1/4, X to the right, that represents the truss. In this case though, I'm gonna go ahead and mark both sides of the truss. It's 1.5 inch material, and that's gonna allow me to align my hanger. While we have the girder truss suspended, I'm gonna go ahead, lay it out top and bottom, because we have to keep these trusses plumb. And let's assume that the girder truss is in fact plumb and square. And frankly, the truss company did a good job building these, so it is. So we're gonna scribe both sides of this. And then, irony of ironies, you got this giant girder truss. We have like little tiny hangers. I'll show you that in just a minute. I don't know why. I mean, you see the carriage bolts there. So there's a lot going on here. Since I'm standing in the middle of that pile, now I'm gonna drive a nail and I'm gonna hook it, and now I'm gonna mark 2 foot, 2 foot 1.5, 4 foot, 4 foot 1.5, etc. And of course, our goal is to always be efficient. So we try to do as many of the same tasks. You probably heard me say that many times on this channel. In this case, I'm going to put all of the hangers where they go so that as I'm installing them, I can just stay in the same rhythm. Look how giant my hands look like. Oh, incidentally, this is the pass load metal connector nailer, positive placement nailer, trademarked, with 1.5 nails. You got to look at your drawings to see what size nail you need. Again, it's just like, you would think that we would need more than this, but, and then we're going to double shear nail with 16 hand bangers through the sides. That's the double shear. Incidentally, here's an engineering lesson for you. I'm not an engineer, but I was taught this by an engineer. The double shear nails in the Simpson hangers actually means less fasteners total, so let's just make sure that we use the correct fasteners. Sound like a plan? So the trick here is I'm right-handed, correct-handed, so I'm going to hold that hanger with my left hand, and I'm going to line up the right-hand side. I'm going to fully shoot that thing in place. Now I'm going to bend it, and you'll notice I have just a little more room than the actual mark. Yeah, technically that's a little bit of slop to make it easy to sit in. As long as I'm consistent, it's not going to lead to layout mistakes, or where like we accumulate and get off.
Like Perry Farrell said in that one song, here we go. That is going up there.
There we go. 42 foot long, hangers, it's all laid out, hangers are installed. It's better to do that now than when it's up. Notice the rigging is more like 45 degrees. That's not really our preference. We want to be closer to 60 degrees off horizontal, but it is what it is because we have those vertical parts of the girder truss. Additionally, with the truss jib, besides just adding the reach, the real benefit to me is being able to tilt up because we want to keep the boom down. Now, this Ingersoll Rand has a locking differential on the back, so once the boom is up high enough, it gets a little harder to drive. Makes sense. It's a safety feature. With the truss jib being fully extended, we get a little bit more height, and you can see how cramped we are on the site. Kyle had to do the Austin Powers thing again. It's just small moves. Brandon's got the tagline. It's big. We're going to go nice and slow and then speed it up for you because it would be a little tedious if you had to watch the whole thing. Kyle is watching me up on the hill. Outriggers are down for stability. And then it's just out and in, out and in, out and in. I don't like to just go out and then drop. I want to keep that girder truss as close to those walls as I can, or the top plates. In case something was to break loose, it has less far to fall. Now this is just another view. You can see Kyle's watching me with the signal. And I'm just going to go out and down, out and down. Yeah, out and down. Because we're already on an angle, we're going to gain height as we boom out. And then, hey, just because we can, let's do this from one more angle. Incidentally, those are 2x6s that are screwed together, fastened to the wall. That allows us to instantly lock this thing down in plane, and then we're going to go ahead and brace it. Did you notice that we even had the big strong tie SDWS timber screws? I think we used the 5 or 6 inch versions of those to just really lock into this bracing. Then we were going to plumb it and brace it. I don't remember what day of the week this was, but it was getting to be toward the end of the day. And we want to make sure it's braced really well because we know the homeowners live on site, the customer. They might come prowling around. We want to make sure it's nice and safe for them. You'll notice that the girder truss has a gap between the plates and the bottom cord. It's by design. It has a camber. This is a load-carrying girder truss, even though that wall is also load-bearing because it sits right over a stem wall and footing in the crawl space. But hey, it's not on us. Hey, top of the morning to you, everybody. So what we want first is, of course, at the bottom. But we are setting trusses today.
Hey, that's pretty. You look pretty cool, man. Yeah. I just can't believe that there is less board feet in these trusses than had we hand cut it. Do you know what a board foot is? Okay, that's what it looks like. the far bundle there, we'll finish out that, and then each half of these will go over here. Then it'll be lots of bracing and hardware time. We'll sheathe up there. It's kind of a, zoom in there. It's kind of like a bonus from Trusses. So anyway, it was a good day. Hey, happy Friday, everybody. So it's Friday. It's beautiful. So we spent essentially a day and a half setting each of those. We prefabbed like the first 5, skied it way over to the far side, which was good. That has locked in and braced. This machine is a rock star, especially with that truss jib. We couldn't get a crane in here. I have to say, I'm really kind of getting sick of the framers having to, our job is the most dangerous. Because we're taking something that's flat and now we're going up 3 dimension, right? And so it's hard to tie off, it's hard to be safe. It's big, it's heavy, it swings, all that stuff. I should have just put my foot down that day and said, no, we will not show up until we have 14 foot. The lumber truck is 10 foot, so you need 12 really for that. Anyway, it is what it is. We got it done. That's just what we do. I'm just thinking in terms more of safety and time savings. So we could have swung all those trusses in probably in a half day instead of a day and a half, but that's just the way it goes. At least we got that bad boy. So let me just show you what it looks like. While I'm on the subject though of the trusses, we could have easily cut, that's like nothing, it's 42 feet. We could have cut rafters, set a ridge beam, we would have had ceiling joists that we would have scattered all of our roof sheathing on, so we would have a floor to work off of. So really no working at heights, safer. And then we could have transferred these loads with a minimal amount of framing. I really think that we have less labor in a hand cut roof like this than in bonus room trusses, because you factor in the factory time plus the difficulty of getting them up there. And we're good at hand cutting. We know what we're doing with that. We're set up for it. So anyway, trusses have their place. It was kind of fun. Glad it's up and done. Okay, so those piggybacks, they're just going to extend this to there. Boom out. These are bonus room trusses. And there'll just be an attic access up there. We'll sheet the floor with Advantech, and then that'll be kind of a dance floor, so to speak, to hand sheathing out. That's a 10-12, 10-12. Then there's a section of 412 we'll hand cut at the front of the porch, and then 212 that comes back from that tall wall. That'll be hand cut as well. So, yep, lots to do, and then wrap around porch with just scads of pressure treated. That's gonna be so fun.
In the last video, you saw that we set all 4 of those 42-foot glue lambs. We had corner posts, strung them straight, braced them, and then we installed the rest of the columns. I think that saved us a lot of time. It was certainly a lot easier, because then we could just drop plumb and locate the rest of those brackets. You can see that we have 4 trusses on either side of the pop-up there, and that is the 412 to 1012. Then it heads up toward the flat spot where the piggybacks are going to go, which you'll see in just a moment. And these are bonus room trusses. So we're going to sheathe that floor. There's going to be a pull-down attic door, and it's basically just storage. 6050 windows on each side. And you'll notice that these trusses are just a little taller than that girder truss we set earlier. And we went ahead and we prefabbed the first 4 or 5 trusses. We braced them all and we skied them over the building. Then we did one at a time. We blocked them, and we also screwed them into that girder truss with the big ledger lock screws. Everything's braced. We want to make sure that it's safe. And so that's what today, this day that this drone is flying, was going to be installing more bracing. We started the morning with just the last like 4 or 5 trusses. Then it was going to be a bunch of bracing. And you can see that there. Also, you can see my mad drone skills. I had the sensors on. So, there's a couple more things that I want to show you in this video. So hang tight. In fact, let's try this. And action. What you were looking at is the safety bar by Super Anchor Safety. We've had this thing since I believe about 2012. I wrote it up for JLC many years ago. We used it a lot on volunteer projects. 3 trusses properly braced, and 2 people can tie off to that. I don't remember the particulars. I think it's fall restraint. Anyway, you notice that Kyle is really squeezing the thing at this point. It's because those trusses don't plane perfectly. But this allows us both to tie off, and you can kind of see Kyle's wearing the Super Anchor Safety Deluxe 3D harness, and I'm wearing it as well. Not the same one as him. Obviously, we're wearing different ones.
Safe. Can't die now.
You will notice that we still have to install the piggyback trusses, but we went ahead and sheathed this area instead of running rat runs. The truss drawing showed an either or. I like to install sheathing because it's something to work off of.
Like shoe boots.
Yeah.
I roll my ankles too much.
Oh yeah. I've gotten used to wearing those. Those Fort Waynes, dude, I think are
These are beasts.
like I can't wear the Knicks right now. Whatever. I'll just make it another knot. I can't wear the Knicks right now because my Achilles is just all swollen.
Yeah, how did it feel after yesterday?
It was hurting.
Little thin.
A few years back, Truss Lox reached out to me, and we finally actually had a truss roof. Now, I had sent those
Nice.
to a framer in Salt Lake City so that they could get footage of them in use. They sent me some like 2 days before this. Would have been awesome to have set those bonus room trusses with the Truss Lox. Obviously, most of us would not use it
I
just
think you
for
can just
piggybacks
eyeball 'em.
unless you already have them.
But you know
They
what?
are
I
not
just stay
cheap.
ahead of you.
I'll put a link in the description below. Where I think this is worth all framers owning is that you can pre-attach them and then sky in tall trusses, and we'll show you how. Well, I mean, you can see how it works. You just click them together. The reason why I think that they're expensive, one, they're made in the U.S. Two, they're pretty robust. Like we could throw those off the house and not break them. I don't recommend doing that, but like the normal wear and tear of a framing site,
I think you just
is
stay
not
on the
going
back.
to break these things.
Okay, I just didn't know if it's gonna
Don't quote me on that.
snap off, you know?
Oh, got it. Yeah, and if you need, I just holler and I can. But I think,
I think I can go like this and not get in your way.
yeah, whatever's easy. I'm just gonna. I only have 3 more,
Yeah.
and I don't like the idea of how far away we are from the anchor point now. Everybody's gonna call us out. Not so much you.
Yeah, I can't.
I have to say I was pretty impressed with the quality overall on these trusses. So yeah, it's a bummer that they never show up on time, but at least they do a good job building them. Piggybacks, sometimes the planing can be a little funky, but we're just lining up the tip of the piggyback right with the top of those bonus room trusses, and it planed out.
That's
I was
so
actually
cool.
looking at it yesterday on site.
I think we got to get
as
close
it
up
was
to this
raining
next
on
one.
the roof.
That is
It looks
pretty
nice
awesome.
and flat. So good job, Truss Company.
Yeah, are we up on the sheeting on this side? I think we are. Okay, we'll deal with that after this footage.
Cut it more, huh?
Yeah. Oh well. It'll look like we're finished carpenters.
Yeah.
Yeah, like did you see those powerhouse guys?
Yeah.
You know, handing up blocks?
Yeah.
Well, as they would have skied those in, they would have already had this on there.
It's in, right? And then you can block whenever.
Yeah. So if
Yeah,
it's
I think for the sake of setting trusses with a boom truck, like if you're especially like trying not to use time for a boom truck, this is the way.
well, if you did it like JP, and like most of the time that we have them all scattered and all we do is lean them up, you would literally have these already attached as high up as you could get them. And when you lean them, they click together. Now they're braced at the top on center.
Yeah,
That's pretty dope. I can still say that, right?
yeah. Works good like this, but if you put a handle on it for a layout.
So I'll give you this, and I think if you stand back, we'll get a few different, just don't fall through. That's my only concern. And I'm gonna look at the camera. I'll just stop this one.
I mean, I don't know what to say. There's a lot of people that when I posted the reel of doing this, just excoriated us. There's a 10-cent word for you. But the thing is, if you look at the bigger picture, buy once, cry once, as Kyle Stumpenhorse says, and he's the smartest, good-lookingest man on YouTube. I'm actually telling the truth. Love that dude. RR Buildings. Come on, we all follow him. But the way that they're curved, the thickness and quality of the plastic, I think you should own it.
That's
and I'm
pretty
not
dope.
getting paid to say that.
Okay, that is hilarious, dude. You're a funny man. Anybody tell you that?
Only when no one's looking.
I love the idea that this thing is.
Hands free.
Okay. It's like Strangely creepy.
Yeah. What's that?
And that is going to bring this video to its close. In the next video, we're going to keep grinding away at this roof, some roof sheathing. We're going to get into some fall protection, and likely we'll get into actually cutting the rafters and installing them for the front section of that roof. We'll see. Might break that up into 2 videos because it was a little bit of a process. Look at that old guy out there on a 1012 with fall protection on, sheathing that roof. That's right. I still got some gas in this tank. I sheathed it all the way up to the piggybacks. That was kind of fun. It's been a while since I've been on a 1012. Last few houses have been 712 or shallower, which is kind of our sweet spot. Anyway, thanks for following along. Hit that like and subscribe button and just click the notification bell. See you in the next video.